Stella Henry here, Texas, United States of America. I want to believe that we have master's degree and bachelor's students in this class. You're all welcome. Before today's class, I want to appreciate Bishop Dr. Sharon Jefferson, President, School of the Spirit Bible Institute. I want to say thanks to Apostle Dr. Ademola Adeshina, PhD, Mr. Vice President, Board of Governors, Coordinator, Practicum Advancement Center, fellow doctors, good afternoon. Today, we're going to be looking into a course, Church Administration and Management. That is the government of the church. Church is no longer a building where we just run to on Sundays and we just want to worship and go home. We run a lot into that building. So having said that, I think I'll just leave the administrative part of it, but I want you to have in mind that church is not just a building that we run into on Sundays. There's a lot going on in the church. Every church should have an organogram, which is like a chart, organizational chart. Depending on the size of the church, there's an organizational chart. And inside a church building, you're going to find, of course, mission statement is going to be there, and all the rest of them that you will read, or you will find in the projector and read. We're going to have people that are on the payroll, so you see it has shifted. It sounds like business. So it's not just church to worship on Sundays. And this is where the church administrator comes in. This is your side. The church administrators, they make the rules that guide some of the things that go on in the church. So today we're going to look at a topic that says disloyalty. And I'm just going to go over stages of disloyalty. We have 8 stages of disloyalty. In every church, in your church, in my church, and other churches out there, we have disloyal people. They're there. So the very first one is independence stage. So at this stage, these people no longer want to participate in a lot of things. They begin to have independent attitude. They begin to have, or they have become autonomous. When the senior pastor is saying something else, these people want to say something else. Now, for instance, senior pastor says, "Hey, Stella, I am thinking that on Sunday we should fast. Let's have fasting. Let all the leaders come together and let us fast on Sunday." And guess what? He says, "You know what? I already fasted last Wednesday, so that has taken care of it. I won't be able to fast on Sunday because on Sunday I actually have I have a couple of people I want to visit. So Sunday is gonna be my day of visitation." And they are thinking that they are right. No, let me know something. Disloyalty is very ugly because when you are disloyal, you don't even know that you're disloyal. You keep thinking that you're getting better. You're getting better to the point that you are beginning to know even more than the one who has put you here. So this is the problem. Independent stage. I just want to be independent. I know it more than the senior pastor. Every time you see him, he's traveling. I'm running the church. He's going to tell me that we need to pray and fast on Sunday. No, I already fasted on Wednesday. It's not going to happen. And when they say it, they keep it. And let me just say this. It's not a problem to be independent. Everybody wants to. Who doesn't like somebody who is independent? When my child is getting to the old age of running to the bathroom, using the bathroom without me helping him, that's becoming independence, and it's beautiful. So independence is very encouraged. When you get to that stage where you no longer just have to wait for your father to do everything for you, you start doing your side job where you can buy your soap. It is independence and it is beautiful. But that's not the kind of independence we're talking about. When you find yourself in an organization, you cannot be independent. You are under somebody, you are under people, and you have to follow the rules. And if you do not want to be independent, resign. So I just want to give us one example from the Bible. Somebody from the Bible who was disloyal, and this is Joab. Joab. We know that Joab he worked for King David. Joab was, you could certainly say that Joab was King David's army, one of his armies. He was one of his, he was in the his ministry team, and he was one of his managers. Joab became so independent. He just wanted to do everything by himself the way he wanted it. King David had issues. I will not go into that with Abner. But King David wanted peace, and he had this peace talk with Abner. He invited Abner because he just wanted to celebrate this peace agreement. When Joab heard about it, Joab was very upset. You know that Abner came. Abner was another leader from another sector. So when Abner was going, Joab was so upset. And then to spare you the rest of the story, nothing is as bad as when a vision carrier gives his vision and then somebody who is under him is not ready to follow instructions. Senior pastors, if you find such people, Doug Hayward said, get rid of them. Because they have a sickness, they have diagnosis that has no medication. So get rid of them. Joab was under David, acting like he was helping David, but he was not helping David. We remember when David was faced to fight with his own son Absalom. David begged that please they should make sure that nothing was going to happen to his own son. So it was like that prayer was answered. Absalom was able to flee. He fled. Somebody came in and announced that, oh, he saw Absalom, something was hanging his hair somewhere. And this leader, Joab, was very upset about it and was like, why didn't you kill him? And to spare you the rest of the story, Joab did what? Made sure that he ended the life of Absalom. Contrary to what his GO wanted, what his king wanted. He fought a royal city, and then he won. David was very excited. And then he said what? King David, you're not just going to sit at home and take all the glory while I go out there and always win this battle for you, and you just enjoy all the glory. You need to stand up, stand your butt from that chair and join us. You have to join us and fight this war. That was leader Joab. Leader Joab. So senior pastors, I want you to really take note of such people. You do not want them. They're not going to get better. They're not going to pay attention to what you're saying. The book of Doug Hayward says, when you find them, get rid of them. One other thing that I just want to say, when King David was living, the next person he wanted was Solomon. He made it very clear that he wanted Solomon in the kingdom. But Joab specifically went out to go help another person. He helped Adonijah, leader Joab. So I want senior pastors to pay attention. The lights of Joab are all over the whole place in the church. Another person I want to talk about is Absalom. Absalom, the son of David. But before I talk about him, I want to move into the next stage of this loyalty, which is offense stage. Offense. You need to find out who is hurting. Offense stage, somebody might be literally and typically hurting. So we might step on somebody's toe, even without knowing that we have stepped on their toe. These people, we just keep quiet and say nothing. They'll be very angry, but they don't say it. So it is your job as a senior pastor, it's your job as a spiritual leader, it's your job as church administrator to find out these people in the congregation, find them out. They are in the leadership. They are everywhere in the church. Find them out. Absalom was so upset, he was hurting. His own stepbrother slept with his direct sister. Absalom was so upset. David was very upset, but Absalom didn't think David did enough. According to Leviticus 20 verse 17. Absalom was thinking that something more serious should have happened, but it never happened. Absalom kept quiet. Offense stage. So because he really was, they stepped on his toe, he was angry. He kept quiet for 2 years. He kept mute. Senior pastor. If somebody who used to be active all of a sudden keeps quiet, find out why they are keeping quiet. Because it's not a good thing for the church. So Absalom kept quiet for 2 years and nobody talks about it. Offense stage is going to lead a disloyal person to passivity stage. Passivity stage is that stage when they get there, they are so passive. At this time, I'm gonna be in the meeting, but I'm not gonna say nothing. At this time, they're very angry with everybody. At this time, they're checking out. They'll start making friends. You see, and that can be very crazy. Like I said, it can be uglier than cancer, and it moves faster than cancer. And you don't want to have such people. If you find them in the congregation, they quickly find their lives. You find them in the leadership. You call leadership meeting, they're going to be in the meeting, but they don't say nothing. They are taking notes. They are just sitting. They are just watching. Senior pastor, you need to find out who is in their passivity stage. We are not talking about somebody who is like naturally quiet. We're talking about somebody who has been up and doing talking, but all of a sudden, they just go into their shell. Because nonchalant attitude is going to make somebody become an anarchist. If you are not able to find them, they're going to get to a stage of critical stage, which is stage 4. And at that critical stage, they really become critical, just like the name says. They become so critical. They begin to, it's a stage of noticing that everything is ugly. They begin to magnify your faults. They are seeing that your preaching is no longer good. Oh, your message last Sunday was so short. People said that your message is becoming so long. People are saying that you're traveling a lot. People say that you no longer preach on Sundays enough. People say that the building needs to be extended. People are saying that how can you have... So they are just all over the whole place. Critical. I remember that Miriam was following Moses until Moses led them out of Egypt. And then all of a sudden, Miriam begins to see that, oh, Moses is just a human. Moses has his faults. How did Moses go to marry an Ethiopian woman? Miriam had to talk to Aaron about Moses' marital status. But we know that at the end of the day, something happened to Miriam. She had leprosy. And it did not end well with her. Critical stage is a very ugly stage. Senior pastors waste no time with critical people. Because a critical person sees nothing good about you. They are so disappointed and so disillusioned. All they talk about is anything that will bring you down. I'm just going to read it the way I put it. Critical people, they build their lives by destroying others. They build their lives by destroying you. So this is why you see them, time comes when they begin to go into homes of members just to go talk about you. And you are keeping them. And you're not paying attention. As a GO, as a spiritual leader, senior pastor, church administrator, you have to find out who is in their critical stage in the congregation, in the leadership. Because there's nothing good about them. Their life is just all about criticism. But of course we know that criticism is part of the ministry. And this is why we have to open our eyes more than we have done that. Remember that Jesus Christ was perfect, yet he was criticized. He was murdered. Critical people, they want to engage you. They want to argue with you. They want to find something. They want to find a fault. So you don't want to get into that with them. And this is why you have to get rid of them as soon as you can find them. They are full of suspicion. They magnify every little thing. So make necessary adjustments. You make your point, and they say your point of view depends on your viewpoint. And this was why Absalom began to, everything that his father, the king, was doing became gross in his own sight. And Absalom and his life in the church, they will get to the next stage of disloyalty, which is political stage. I remember when I was back in the years when I was in the university, I was fully in the politics. So when we went out to campaign for a president, we go to some of these hostels. When we go to a hostel that is hostel dominated by fellowship sisters, we're going to be screaming, vote for our president, vote. And then you see people be asking questions like, why do we have to vote? A vote for the president is a vote for extra buildings for more fellowship. A vote for the president means a vote for crusades in this school. A vote for the president is a vote for, and then you see them, they'll be clapping. They'll be clapping. This is what we want. We've been looking for more fellowship centers. We've been looking for more church activities. And then so that we tell them what they want to hear. We go to the other side of the building. That side is dominated by people who like to party. And then we'll say, can you vote for our own president? We have come to present our candidate before you. We want you to vote for our candidate. And then they go, can you let us know why we have to vote for your candidate? A vote for our own candidate is a vote to let you guys know that this school is not going to be a cage. It's a vote to let you know that every Friday there's going to be party. We're going to bring all kinds of things inside the school. Movie theaters, cinema, whatever you think of that is beautiful, that is fun, we're going to bring them to school, and then they'll be clapping. Political stage. So this is exactly what happens in the church. When they get to this stage, they begin to move around. They go from house to house. They'll have meetings. Senior pastor, I'm talking about Joab, the one that is directly under you, the one that you think he is a good follower. People, when he will gather people in his own home, they will have meetings against you. He will be asking members, how did you see Sunday service? Don't you think it was so boring? Don't you think the message was so short? Don't you think we need more miracles? Do you think the senior pastor is doing well? A lot of people say that he's traveling too much. People say he's becoming too quiet in the pulpit. And then they talk about you. Get rid of them. And Absalom, at the offensive stage, he was quiet for 2 good years. Never said a word, which led him to passivity stage. At the passivity stage, he became so withdrawn. He withdrew himself. He was by himself. He could come for meeting, but he was just going to take notes, but he wasn't going to say nothing. He was waiting for when time would present, and you will see what is going on inside his mind. And we see that when time presented it, Absalom became a murderer. Then, look for those who have Absalomic attitude, personalities, and get rid of them. Absalom, the Bible even made it clear that Absalom at a time started sitting at the gate. He will go to the gate and stand there. His father's visitors, he will receive them, and he will begin to ask them, oh, how may I help you? Oh my goodness, can we pray? Let's just go ahead and pray. Oh my, really, you need to say the king, but unfortunately, the king has not got time for you. The king said he's not going to have time to see you, and saying it, and then when he finishes, he will say something like, oh, we need to pray for the king. You know, we have people like that in churches today. They will carry the senior pastor and say all good things. When they are done with their negative message, they just be like, well, he's getting older. Let's just put him in prayers. Religiosity. They sound when they finish their gossip and their lies and killing their senior pastor. They will now say, let's put him in prayers. From here, we're heading to stage 6. Stage of deception. To get to this stage, somebody has lied to you. You have been deceived. It's stage of deception. I remember a pastor. It was just a young brother who came into our ministry, and then the senior pastor picked him up and started training him, giving him special training until he got to a level of being a pastor, and the senior pastor just picked him up. He was following him. So time came when it was after the senior pastor, it was him. This guy started becoming all these things that we were talking about. He was no longer loyal, so he started becoming disloyal, offensive stage. He was offended, and nobody saw about it, nobody talked about it. And then he was quiet, just like Absalom. And then he found himself to the next stage, passivity. He was passive. From there to the next stage, to the next stage, to the next stage. Until right now, I cannot even talk about, I don't know where he is right now. But I tell you that where he is very bad. So nobody wants to be disloyal. And before he left the church, people were telling him, oh my goodness, you know you preach more than the senior pastor. You do everything better than the senior pastor. Why don't you go open yours? Go open yours, and we're leaving. When you open yours, we're going to leave this church and we're going to go with you. Because senior pastor has got no time. These are lies. Disloyalty is so tricky. Like, you don't understand that you're being disloyal. You keep thinking that you're getting better than everybody in the church, getting better than the senior pastor. And then you pray for somebody, you forget to remember that even your senior pastor imparted you, he did impartation. And then you pray for people, you pray for somebody falls on the ground, and you're like, oh my God, I have arrived. I'm better than he who has sent me. There's a saying in my country that says, okra tree, it's never going to be taller than the planter. And then there's another one that says that he that has been sent can never be greater than he that sent him. So when Jesus was here, he had 12 students. But today, even as senior pastors, we have schools, large schools. While Jesus was here, he didn't travel more than 200 miles away from his home. But today, we travel thousands and thousands of kilometers. While Jesus was here, he didn't really perform millions of miracles. But today, we have lineups of. So John 14:12. He really made it clear that you can do even greater than he has done. So he never had problems with that. But unfortunately, pastors, associate pastors that we have today, they have problems, a lot of problems. Once people tell them, oh brother, you preached well. Do you know you preach better than the senior pastor? You need to go start your own. The next thing that comes to mind is to become disloyal and to carry half of the members and run out of the church. Senior pastors, get rid of such people. Their disease has no cure. So get rid of them. And despite the fact that we do all this, and Jesus didn't do a lot, Jesus Christ is going to remain Jesus Christ. Jesus will remain Lord, while we will remain ourselves. Jesus was even more that. I'm just going to run quick to the next stage, which is rebellion stage. Rebellion stage, well, I just want to let us know that Absalom went into his father's concubine. He was like, who will see? I can be everywhere, and I'm going to be everywhere. So he invaded everywhere. Senior pastors get to rebellion stage, and in a stage, like open confrontation, they're ready to fight you. They will come looking for you in the church. Maybe they have already built their own down there. They'll come and look for you. I'm telling you for the last time. So they're going to warn you. They're going to say something. An execution stage is a goodbye stage for a disloyal person. You don't want to be there. Just look at the case of, it's an unthinkable madness anyway. You see Absalom, you see Lucifer, you see Judas, and you see Miriam. They all tried, but they all did what? They all failed. Their stories were very bad. Mother of all deception. To find yourself in disloyalty. Spirit of Absalom fights against his father. Spirit of Judas betrays and turns against those who have kept them where they are. Always remember how you arrived here. Always remember, because the problem is that associate pastors usually just forget. They just forget how they got here. So always remember how you arrived. Lucifer, the spirit of Lucifer tries to replace rightful authority. The spirit of Miriam will always fight against those who has brought them out of where they have found light. And just to wrap it up, do not involve yourself in any kind of disloyalty. Do not involve yourself in any kind of rebellion. 1 Samuel 15:23. It said, for rebellion is a sin of witchcraft. Rebellion is a sin of witchcraft. And Exodus 22:18 says, suffer not the witch to live. So the first one says it's a rebellion against a sin of witchcraft. And this one says what? Suffer not the witch to do what? To live. So that means these people, they are heading to their grave. Fruit of rebellion is execution. Because God himself will displace you to replace you. He will displace you to replace you. Lucifer was casted out according to Revelation 18:15. Absalom slew. You saw how he died. Judas hung himself according to Matthew 27:5. Always stay clean. Loyalty attracts love. Matthew 12:30 says, he that is not with you is against you. He that is not with you is against you. And then Revelation 22:10 says, cast out these corners and contentment will flee. Senior pastors, get back in the congregation and see who is disloyal. Try to find out the stage. I would say if it is the first, second stage, try to see if you can talk them out of it. Other than that, just get rid of them. The book of the keywords just said get rid of them because it's a disease that has no cure. Thank you so very much, and we will see you again in the next class.